We're going live today with Rabbi Yaakov Horowitz to discuss keeping children safe this summer. I think this is a really, really important conversation to have. Child safety is always something that's really important, but especially during the summer, sometimes there's different circumstances or children are going to different places. He's joining right now. So I think it's just really important to talk about.
Hey,
hello.
How are you?
Hi. Okay, Baruch Hashem, this is working.
A pleasure to be on. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Okay, so I was telling everybody that we're going to be talking about keeping children safe during the summer, and I really, really appreciate the work that you do around this. I think it's so important, and the more that we raise awareness, I think the more safety we create.
That's simple. Yep, really.
Yeah.
It really is that. And I would add one thing to that, Mrs. Heller. And again, thanks for having me. The better parents are educated about how to have these discussions, how to listen, to open the children up to talking. It's not a one-off. It's not just about having a talk with them. It's about having the right talk, about listening. There is a direct correlation between the efficacy of the discussions and parent education. Yeah.
So it really does keep children safer, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think people here are already familiar with you and know who you are, but do you just want to introduce yourself again, just in case there's anybody who's like, I don't know what this is, or.
Sure. My name is Yaakov Horowitz. I've been a parent mentor in Jewish education for over 40 years. And I wrote a child safety book together with Art Scroll called Let's Stay Safe. Thank God we just broke the 140,000 number, Mrs. Heller, last week. Wow. We're in over 140,000 homes in 3 languages. Wow. And we created the safety book, like I said, together with Art Scroll, specifically to give you the tools, to give parents the tools to have these conversations. I'll be glad to, discuss the details of it. But that's the big idea. I've been working in this space because I've worked with teens at risk. Starting in the mid-1990s, we kept seeing that a very significant percentage of them had been abused. And I looked around and said, how in the world do we stop this? And one of the things that jumped at us was education. I'll be glad to explain why it's so important,
Yes, go right in. You have the floor. Like, tell us parents why it's so important, and then also maybe if you want to talk about the book a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
So the reason, I was skeptical initially, Mrs. Heller. When I first started, I said, how do you stop this? You have a big adult who's unfortunately sick and a predator wants to abuse a little child. How can you stop it? And I went to experts. I read over a dozen books. Dr. Pelkowitz and Dr. Twersky worked with us on every page of the book, every letter, every image, just to get the right blend. But what emerged is that the abusers are really doing their homework. Less than 5%, most studies say it's less than 2% to stranger danger. It's mostly people they know. Sometimes, like Dr. Michael Solomon, who's done extensive research on it, it's like 40% is in that first circle of immediate family members. Second, uncles. God, I know it's hard for everybody to, get their hand, believe that.
Can I interrupt you for a moment there?
I'm sorry?
I want to interrupt you for a moment there because someone once told me that, like, when they hear these statistics and they hear these things, they find that it scares them more as a parent. Right. And like they find that it just, and they don't find it helpful. Again, I don't have that. I personally don't feel that way, but when I heard that, I was like, I'm curious about that. And I wonder what you have to say to that.
Right. So the direct answer is that child safety education isn't about frightening children. It's not about frightening parents. Our whole book doesn't have a single image that's in any way unsettling. Quite to the contrary, we work to get that message across in a positive way. The research shows that when parents get into fight or flight, when they get nervous, you don't remember anything after that, So you're sitting on a plane and the doctor says there's a lot of, the pilot says there's a lot of turbulence right now. Flight attendants, take your jump seats, you know. And someone tells you something, you don't remember a word about that, not a single solitary word. You'll remember that you talked, but you're not going to remember much more than that. So we don't want to frighten the children. I don't want to frighten you, but that's the reality. Not to discuss the reality that close people to us could be doing this to our beautiful children is not doing anyone justice. So that's the reality. But because the abusers are close and they're not someone that's just stopping, you know, God forbid, abusing a child and leaving, because they're close, they have to be very careful because they're going to get caught. They're around the child. The child has to say something and they wind up in jail. So they go through a process called grooming to figure out which kids are, God forbid, they can get away with abusing. And the research consistently shows, and anecdotally, from my own, unfortunately, way too much experience in dealing with these situations, the two things they look for are kids who are isolated, God forbid. And my mother was a single parent for 2.5 years. I want to make it perfectly clear. I'm not saying that kids in the single homes or, you know, divorced parents or widows, you know, I don't think that in and of itself makes children at higher risk. It's the inattentiveness or sometimes the lack of you know, happiness at home. It's that when I say isolated, I don't mean like like a single parent.
You don't mean a physical circumstance. You mean an emotional reality.
Exactly. Are the parents communicating with the children? How often are the children comfortable? Do parents give kids messages? Sweetheart, you can talk to me about anything. It will never change my opinion of you if you tell me something that's going, even if it's something that'll upset me. So you can really tell. I mean, if anyone's interested, I'll put up a link and tag you on it. It's the best article I recommend for grooming. There's a piece by Malcolm Gladwell called In Plain View that explains how grooming process. I think it's an absolute must for every parent to read. But they go through this process to see who's isolated, and they want to know who's not educated about their own bodies. And it's not sex education. It means the right to privacy, the right to, where the norm is that we have privacy. I'll go through the 4 messages and some of this will become clearer. But the abusers, I mean, the research shows that like 6 months to 2 years is the length of grooming time that often goes on.
Wow, 6 months to 2 years. So it's a long process.
Yeah, because they want to make sure. I mean, unless they're totally impulsive, and those aren't serial abusers because they get caught. But the ones who don't get caught go through this process. And you know, you mentioned that parents say they don't want to think about this, or they don't, you know, what I keep hearing from parents is, you know, Horowitz, I'm so glad you made this book. It's so wonderful. And then, you know, the but is coming. Well, it's such a pity. Why do we have to, you know, teach our children? So I said, you're making them the most ideal targets for an abuser because they weren't spoken to. And again, it's about, let me go through the messages now. That might be a good idea. And if you'd like, I made actually 6, you know, under a 1.5 minute parenting clips with actual slides from the book to show how they work. I'll post the stories and tag you. I did it 2-3 weeks ago. And that's the beauty of the book, by the way, is that you don't have to stare the kids in the eye. You know, if you say, you know, and if you tell them some of those messages, anyone can be an abuser. Adults freak out when you hear this.
Right. That's
imagine
exactly what they're saying.
Right. Imagine you're going to your in-laws for Pesach.
Yeah.
And, you know, you hear a talk from her. Means everybody around there can be an abuser. Like, yes. I'm staying home. Right?
Right.
So, but if you're empowered, that's what the Chiddush was. That's what was so surprising. They're afraid. Abusers are afraid they're going to look for this. And the first message is your body belongs to you. Okay? That you teach children that they have the right to their own space. You can teach this so many different ways. Teach children to knock when they go into another child's room or when they knock on the bathroom. give children their own drawer. The research shows that kids who have just a drawer, two kids, everything's the same. One kid has their own drawer, one doesn't. The kid with the drawer is more likely to defend themselves.
Wow.
Because they get it. This belongs to me. I belong to me.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
They very clearly have the awareness of boundaries.
Exactly. Boundaries is exactly it. When I was a school principal, Mrs. Heller, I used to do this 200 yards away from one end of the playground to another. I would go like this, make a little box with my hands. If two kids were fighting, I could tell them, hey, Yitzi, stop fighting with Moshe. But instead, I would say, Yitzi, you're in Moshe's space.
Yes.
Because
yes.
I got a double message in. And I encourage parents, your kids are fighting in the playroom. You say, Dina, you're in Avi's space right now. Step back a little bit. So then it becomes normal. One of the analogies that I give is, if you invited me to your home, Mrs. Heller, and how old would a child of yours have to be to realize something strange is if I took my hand and just picked up a piece of chicken with my hand? You know, how old would your kids start giggling already? What do you think?
Very young. 3.
Very young.
Yeah.
Because you have a norm established. We don't do this. So when your norm is that you don't get into somebody's space,
yes,
or if you're touching someone in a way, even on a shoulder, if they don't like it, they say, please stop. And they stop. And if the grandparents are telling the children, like I tell ours, you know, sweetheart, if I'm doing, you know, I make a fool out of myself, like all grandparents, get on the floor, play with the kids. Always, always tell them, if the grandpa does something you don't like, tell me and I'll stop. So if the kids grow up there, even their grandfather and even their uncle they have the right to say, stop doing that. So to them, when somebody comes along and they say, hey, and they don't move, they do this, they're invading your space. They get too close to you. It's as strange to them as taking chicken with your hands, because that's not how we roll around here.
Right.
And if they tell them, please stop, and they don't, then they bug out. Then they come tell you.
Right.
So that it's about the norm. So we have a norm that we respect each other's space. Then we have, you know, message of good touching, bad touching. That's really simple. Spot covered by a bathing suit. Nobody touches you. The third message is, well, no one has the right to make you feel uncomfortable, meaning if you're in an uncomfortable situation, get out. Because we know that, again, research and my anecdotal experience is that people tend to feel uncomfortable long before there's abuse. Right. One of the highest profile abuse cases in the Jewish world in the last 20 years. The victim told me herself that she was uncomfortable 3 years before she was abused, that the abuser had some business dealings with her father, and she couldn't explain it. She just said, I just felt creepy. I just felt, you know. So that's what we teach them, and those secrets from parents. You know, if you think the way an abuser operates, it becomes obvious. They don't want kids talking to their parents. So you tell them, no one's ever allowed to tell you that. They want to be able to encroach on your space. So you tell the kids, you know, you're entitled to your space. They want to touch them in private areas. So you tell them, sorry, we don't do that around here. And that they have a right to leave a situation where they're uncomfortable. So, you know, those are the basic messages. And I really, really encourage parents to just think about it a little bit, read a little. We have a book. You don't need our book. First of all, if you look at the slides, there's 6 short videos that I'll send Mrs. Heller in stories. The pictures are there. But the beauty of it is, again, it's relaxed. We even started with, the book starts with crossing the street and putting a helmet on. Then we go to stranger danger, and then we get to those middle pages that talk about child safety, and then we go back to general safety. And we purposely did it clinically because if a parent sits down and says, you know, they know they're talking about this, the parent gets uncomfortable. So first of all, a book, you don't have to look them in the eye. Again, any safety book. And you ease your way into the conversation. By the time you get to those pages, you know, you're comfortable, the children are comfortable. And that's why we purposely didn't make anything uncomfortable there.
Yeah. So you basically like couched it in just an entire safety book. So it's not like this topic specifically. The child feels relaxed, the parent feels more relaxed. And what I'm hearing you say is like from parents who like are like afraid of like, oh my gosh, you're telling me anybody can be an abuser, is you're actually saying, no, we're trying to empower you. Like if you know, then you can do something about it. And if you know, then you can recognize what are the ways that I can keep you. It gives you a sense of maybe an agency, like what you can do to keep your children
Exactly.
safe.
Agency is exactly right. And if you look at the one page that we talk about it's a fellow who's dressed like me. We purposely didn't dress him like a stranger. We dressed him,
Yes.
white shirt, like one of us.
Yes.
We kept saying it has to look, Dr. Tversky and Dr. Pelkowitz said, it's got to look like the kid's uncle,
Yes.
And you see them flying a kite. So you don't have to say anybody in your family can be an abuser. Be careful, watch out. It says even people, and if you really want to look into it, every page of those middle pages where we talk about safety, the first 4 lines of it all rhymes. The first 4 lines are about fun things. So in the private, in the space, in the page that talks about, my body belongs to me, it's fun stuff at the beginning. I have a ball, I have games, I have my own bed. Then on the bottom it says, but someone, no one's supposed to encroach on my space. And that page, history note, we went through 33 versions of that page till we got it right.
Wow.
I have a whole folder with the imagery. We had him on a swing with the arm around the kid. Then we had a lot of it looked creepy, and
Yeah.
and some of it didn't get the message across. 33 versions till
Wow.
Dr. Pelkowitz and Dr. Tversky signed off on it and said this is just right. So you see an adult flying a kite, and it says even people we know, and even people, I love to fly a kite, as someone teaches me to, but even people we know shouldn't tell us to do things that. So you have the picture, like you don't need to say every single person around you, and that conveys the message in a wholesome way that the children can absorb and incorporate into their own lives and understanding of things.
Yeah. Listening to you, I'm realizing that it's also so important. Like you already mentioned this about like the culture in the home should be that like we have boundaries. No one's allowed to go else in your boundary. If you do, you speak up. You're allowed to speak up. People will respect and honor you when you speak up. If they don't, something's off, right? So I love that. Like it's important to create that in the home, regardless, even when it doesn't come to like, expect, like, meaning, like you said, you are a grandfather, even though we don't, right? You're okay. Again, like I'm sure your children and grandchildren are not suspecting you of sexually abusing them. You still are maintaining those boundaries of those body boundaries, right?
Yep.
And that's what it is. It's not about like, oh, we're only going to have those with people who we suspect. It's with everybody. Right. I think sometimes people think that it's like only with people who we suspect. I've heard things along those lines. No. It's we practice it with everybody because we respect people's body boundaries.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean anything abusive. If grandparents give kids like, mushy kisses and the kids don't like it, and the kids go to their parents and they say, Zaidi gave me one of those, please tell them. Or if they're not in the mood to get kissed by their grandparents.
Right.
Kids are different.
Right.
They have a right to speak up. So when I tell my grandkids, if Zaidi does anything, Zaidi's grandpa, if I do anything that you don't like, doesn't mean I'm something abusive. They're not in the mood.
Exactly.
We play certain games, and I do different things with the kids. I do a handball, whatever. We do different fun things with the kids. I tell the kids, with tickling or without. I'll ask the kids, and most of them say without, and that's another message I'm giving them. You could say no to even to me, and the fact that I preempt it is so impactful to the kids because hey, if my grandfather who's around me all the time and he tells me this, so of course I can tell someone in shul and synagogue or somebody out there. So you're empowering. Grandparents tell me all the time that like what can I do to keep my grandkids safe? I'm so worried. I said, tell them this.
Yes.
Tell them this. Give them agency and give them, like you said, agency to speak up. And right.
Yeah. You wanted to say something?
No, 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 no. Please,
I was
you want to say
thinking
something?
in my head that there's a lot of people here whose parents don't respect body boundaries, who not because like they're malicious, but they're not aware and they take it personally and they think it's like, why are you not letting me hug the grandchildren? Why making such a big deal? And I think it sends a very powerful message when a parent can speak up in front of the child and say, like, my child really doesn't feel comfortable with
So
this. It's very
I'm gonna
yeah,
post up those 6
yeah.
videos in the stories, the short videos I made with the imagery of the book, and I have to look for it. But around that week or two, I made one video for parents to send to their parents and in-laws.
Oh wow.
I, I promise you, I specifically said, if your child is sending you this, it's because they want to politely tell you that.
Oh wow.
I promise you, I did it because so many parents come and says, Rabbi Horowitz, it's nice of you to say that. You're okay with it. Well, my father-in-law is going to have a canary if I tell him
Exactly.
it. So I tell them things are different now. This is how we train the children. Do you want somebody else? Do you want to take away the right of your grandchild to say, stop doing that to me?
Exactly.
So if you tell them, oh, stop it, I'm your grandfather, I can do anything. So in other words, they did what their parents suggested and what they teach them in school. Someone makes you uncomfortable, come to a parent. Then the parent said, no, I'm sorry, anxiety, I can't do anything about it. What have you just threw all the child safety education out the window.
Right.
So you're giving your grandchildren such a gift. I made this video and said, look, things are different. We didn't do this. We didn't know about this when we were kids. And that's why there were so many carbonos. There were so many kids that were
Exactly.
abused. So you can stop this. I actually got nice feedback from grandparents on the page.
Wow, that's
That I
amazing that
explained,
you made
Rabbi
that.
Horowitz,
Yeah.
you explained it to me in a nice way,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it is hard for parents to explain, children to explain it to their parents, and I love that you sort of help them along with that by creating that
Right.
video.
And it's very
Yeah,
generational. It is absolutely generational because, we didn't, we didn't think this way with our own children. We spoke to them because I'm in this space, but it wasn't commonplace that schools did this or even
right,
parents. They had the talk, but it was different.
yeah,
Watch out, nobody should grab you.
right,
But this is more sophisticated. It's more nuanced.
yeah,
I just want to mention,
yeah,
to parents, in the broader
yeah.
sense, to please have a level of situational awareness. That's what they
Mm,
call it in the Army.
yes,
When you're you're going through the jungle, you're walking, a patrol. Look around you, see what danger spots might be. The equivalent would be, if one of our, God bless them, our troops was in Afghanistan and they're going down a block, they see where are the clusters of people there? Is there a place with poor lighting? Just because you're in a bungalow colony, folks, doesn't mean that everybody's okay there.
yes,
So your daughter's babysitting? Oh
yes,
my God, how many calls and emails I got over the years. Your daughter's babysitting? Who else is there? Is the guy home? And the wife is out with some friends and he's going to leave after a half hour. Whoa. We can't keep doing things the way we've been doing them until now, or we're going to
yes,
wind up with the same results.
yes,
And, another thing, Mrs. Heller, I've been really thinking about lately and talking about is the concept of institutional grooming. You ever heard the term? It's a fascinating topic.
I haven't heard the term, but I can imagine what you're talking about. Yeah,
That just like abusers select children, abusers select institutions. And they look and see, does anybody care here?
Mm-hmm.
I'm embarrassed to say, I was in a shul in my hometown of Muncie.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to lose my mind. There was a registered sex offender who got out of jail 6 months earlier, and he was sitting right in the middle of the shul. So what's the message? What's the message you're sending to parents? They said, yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's not true. It's just, So what I've been thinking about a lot and talking about and encouraging parents to do is put up signs in your shul, in your bungalow colony, free books available. Oh, we have parenting books that we donated We donated 3 child safety books to the shul's library. Have a look.
Yeah.
Before Shavuos this year, I got such nice feedback. I've been writing this ever since Torah, and Shavuos like, hi. You can imagine Shavuos, everybody's up late at night, you know? So less supervision. I wrote, take a few pieces off the board and talk about it. Make an announcement. If the rabbi makes an announcement, folks, we close the boiler room and we close the extra classrooms because we want to keep an eye on the kids. You keep an eye on the kids too. I'm telling you, everybody there that God forbid they might be abusers, they say, I'm out of here. So hang up a sign. You can write your own sign. Just write, be mindful of child safety.
Yeah.
Put it up on your board in your bungalow colony.
Yeah.
You know, and the abusers get the message.
Correct. And I heard this for even in our own homes, we can do this. Like if we have guests who come, you know, there's a lot of guests that we can say in our home, children know that nobody's supposed to touch them without their permission. I do that, you know, and I say, and we keep, and they know they're not supposed to be alone. Like we say it out loud. So it's kind of like,
absolutely.
Yeah, we're saying this institution, home is not,
this is not
a safe place for you.
I'm actually, one of my goals for the next year, I want to make child safety signs that people can put on the lawn. We're a child safety family.
Yes.
You ever see these signs? We have a community
neighborhood
patrol.
Watch. We are the goes, right? Yeah.
Yep. We got game. We got game.
Yeah.
So we have an offer, parents. I made it so easy. Our book sells for $8.99. Do the math. That's not much of a profit maker. We purposely lowered the price together with ArtScroll, but I have a $5 a book for bulk sales of 20 or more.
Oh wow.
$5. Free shipping, childsafetybook.org. I'll send you a copy of the flyer and as a story. 20 books, guys. Just take them to your bungalow colony. Put them in shul. People should just drop a $5 bill in there. You know, so we actually made a child years ago. I have to see if I can find it. I don't know why I stopped posting it. We made summer safety signs that I posted for free, a free downloadable PDF. I'm going to go have a look at my files. And you reminded me now, so thank you. I'm going to see if I can find it and post it. Just get a message out. Just get a message out. We got game. We're watching. Parents, I don't frighten people, so don't get frightened. Just be aware.
Yeah.
We understand this logically. If you have X number of people in your community, in your room, in your shul, there's going to be someone has a propensity to abuse there.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is. Whatever that number is, I'm not going to throw out a number.
It's just statistics.
Whatever, it's statistics. So that person is watching.
Mm-hmm.
That person is watching. There's a video. I did an interview with a Rabbi Yaakov Glasser. Mm-hmm. He's a rabbi in Passaic, New Jersey. His shul, there was a registered sex offender that moved in around the block from the shul. He invited me to his shul. If I remember, I'll put. I got a lot of stuff to. I wasn't taking notes. I'll try to put some.
Yeah, people are asking. Do you have links to this or that?
Yeah,
somebody, by the way, wanted to.
I'm going to send you a lot of different sources, but you got to watch this Rabbi Glasser video. Okay. It's unbelievable. I know we're short on time, but I'll just get this and we'll say. So, Rabbi Glasser called a meeting in his shul. He spoke to the abuser. He said, "You're not welcome in shul where we have children." He invited me to come. He bought a book, a safety book for every family. He invited me to come to shul to speak to the parents, and I flipped out. It was like an AA meeting. It was in a circle.
Yeah.
And that, rather than lecturing, you know what that message was? Anybody can ask questions. This is a comfortable space. Mm-hmm. And here's the freak out part. The sex offender walked into shul Saturday night. They walked in during the prayers, and he waited till the prayers had started so he would get in. Rabbi Glasser, God bless him, got up from his chair up front, walked over to the guy, and in the laws of prayer are you're not supposed to interrupt in the middle. So he interrupted his own prayers and he said, "Get out. You're not welcome here." So the guy said, "I'm in the middle of Shema. I'm in the middle of an important passage in the verses that we say in the prayers." So he said, "So am I. Get out." And he marched the guy right out of there. You know what a message that sends to everybody? You know, right. So we got to get game, folks. We got to get game. Send the message. We're protecting our children. This is a child safety family. We're a child safety community. Please take advantage of the 20-book offer. It's $100. You can buy 20 books. Give them to your friends. You can sell them for 20 bucks a piece if you want. No, but really, sell them for $5. Let people drop $5 in a can. Buy them together. You have you're making a simcha. Give them out as a gift. You're cutting your child's hair. Whatever. Just get them out and get a message in a positive way that we're protecting our children. The abusers know about it.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yes. They can see when we stand up and when we say something, or when we just let things fly under the radar and just, yeah. I really, really appreciate you saying that, because I think that's so important, because now people are in bungalow colonies and camps and, right? So it's like having those in those institutions, there can be very, very clear safety protocols.
Exactly. And people say, I'm afraid to send my kid to summer camp. I think, I haven't done a study, but my sense is that if the camp does what they should be doing and give child safety education seminars to the staff, I think they're much safer in a camp than in a bungalow colony. Because you're closed in, you have a finite amount of people, you have who to report to. I think bungalow colony, not just a bungalow, any space where there's kids, the kids they have less supervision during the summer, they have more free time, they're in with many more adults. How many adults do they see on a regular school day? Think about how small that number is. Now you got hundreds.
Exactly.
So again, go ahead, live life, but be educated. Take advantage of that tool we made. It's our child safety book. It's in English, in Yiddish, 2 versions in Hebrew.
Oh, wow. 2 versions in Hebrew. Wow. Okay. So people asking, where's the link? Where's the link? Where's the link? We're going to post all these things. Somebody even asked the video that you have for parents. Can you send that to me as well?
Yes, I'm going to send you. I'll spend the next 10
tag me in everything and always share it.
I'm going to do that, folks. Just check. Our bulk thing is thechildsafetybook.org, and our Amazon page. You can do a search for Center for Jewish Family Life on Amazon. Let's stay safe. But I'll send you a link. You'll have it in 2 minutes.
Amazing. Yes. And somebody asked if you have the video for grandparents, if you have it anywhere other than on Instagram. I don't know if you do, but I was thinking.
Yes, I have a YouTube link. I'll put it up there also, so they can. I'll put up a separate video with the youth. I made that 9 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But it contains all the information that it's a 9-minute video.
Oh, amazing.
So that's a very good. Thank you for mentioning that. So
somebody asked,
You keep me busy for a little while. That's great. I'm glad. And
thank you so much for all the work that you do. It's really saving.
Pleasure.
I'm sure it is saving lives.
My greatest pleasure. By the way, all those safety videos, it's at Bright Beginnings Forum on Instagram. If you just go back 2-3 weeks, you can see it yourself. I have 2 pages. This is at Yaakov Horowitz. I do a lot of, lives and other things here, but we have daily parenting clips. I would encourage you to have a look, sign up there anyway, follow us so you can get our daily clips. This summer, the first time I'm doing this, July and August, we're only doing clips 4 days a week, but it's going to be a reflective process about upping your parenting game overall, about reflecting and setting goals over the summer, how you can be a better, more engaged, next level parent. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, actually.
I love that. Okay,
Thank
so I'm going to reshare all the things that we spoke about.
I'm going to be busy. I won't have lunch until I get up all the stories. Deal?
Okay. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you, everybody, for being here as well. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.